welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining us again. So we're back in the garage and we're trying to make some more improvements to the new combo in the dark. You guys have been following along the channel. We've been out racing twice on the new motor trans combo that we've been running, and we've made some big improvements. On that last race day, we dropped the RPM, the launch RPM, using our two-step and our trans brake to 4,000 RPM, and then launching there and flashing the converter to the 5,000 stall that it's at. And we also dropped our tire pressures down. We had those Goodyear slicks down to about 9 pounds each side, and that did get us our best 60-foot time ever at a 1:58. I do know this car is capable of a lot more. I still believe we're just kind of honing it in. And so today I've made a couple more changes to improve this new combo a little bit further. And what's really cool about this video is both things I've done here. We'll talk about them both. I'll show you guys both things I've done, of course. But both of these came straight out of the comment section on my YouTube videos, which is so awesome. This is the best thing about YouTube, is I can interact with people and people can tell me what worked for them and some tips that might help me improve. And that's one of the main reasons I started doing YouTube, is to talk to people, engage with people, and see what other guys are doing, and we can all work together to kick some Chevy and Ford butt, right? Okay, so the first modification I wanted to tackle right away was the shifter. This won't really help our 60-foot time that much, except for the first time I hit the trans brake, I slammed the gear all the way back into 2 or 3. But it's actually to help improve our ET. So what was happening is I was getting the stock A-body shifter hung up with our reverse manual pattern going backwards. So D is 1 and then 2 and 3, it all goes backwards now. And the way the stock shifter works, you have to depress the button to go backwards like that. And this was hanging me up, going from 1 to 2, you'd have to depress, let it go, not blow past it, go into 3. It was incredibly difficult. So a couple guys reached out to me and they were saying that you could actually put a little grind into the shift gate in the actual mechanism of the shifter, and that will allow you to go from 1 to 2 cleanly with no button, and then button down into 2, 3, which is exactly how a lot of race shifters are set up. If you buy like a Hurst quarter stick or a B&M shifter as well, the non-ratcheting ones, they're just straight back, and then it's just actually a lever they use, but the button does the exact same thing. So this is a great thing I want to tackle. So I ripped the console apart and got right into it. Let's check it out. Okay, so here is our shifter with the console exposed, obviously. Now this is what everybody's talking about. This is your shift gate. So when you depress the button, this plunger here plunges down just like that, and then you can go through the gate. So starting at the front, here's your park position locked in there. Button down gets you to reverse. You can go into neutral. Now in a previous video, I showed you guys that we actually added a little bit of weld right here to create a stop at neutral, because when I used to have a forward pattern, this would be 1, 2, 3. It eliminates you going into into neutral from drive when you're racing, so you can never blow past drive. Stops you before you get to neutral, and all we did was a little bit of weld there. You can go back, I think that video is actually like a couple years old now, but a little dab of weld just creates a little block there, and then that's neutral, so drive can't go past. Now with the reverse pattern, we're starting here, having to depress to go to, see, just like that. So 1, 2, 3. And that's the problem I keep having, is I'm not getting it either out quick enough, or I'm going past and getting it into drive. The first time I hit the trans brake, I had it depressed and I went all the way to drive right away. So what we're gonna do is this little ramp right here, this step here, we're gonna eliminate and just kind of grind her down a little bit so we can get a smooth transition from 1 to 2 without depressing the button. Yeah. So here we are on passenger side. I got it marked out. You can see that neutral dab of weld there a little better too. And there you can see I'm just putting a little 45 on it to go from 1 to 2. Smooth transition with no button. Just gonna hit it with the old power fist die grinder here and do a couple test runs as I go. I'm gonna start with that 45, and if that works real smooth, we'll leave it there. If not, I might have to put more of a ramp in it, but we'll start there and see how she does.
Okay, so that worked out pretty good. I had to take a little bit more of the 45 out of it just because it didn't want to, the little plunger wouldn't slide on that quick ramp, so I had to put a bit more of an arc in it, but I still left a little ledge on the top at 2. So here's 1, there's 2, no button. That's great, look at that. Nice and firm too. That feels great. That's gonna be boom. I like that a lot. And then still plunger down for 3. So basically, that's like a race style shifter. And still no neutral, but we won't be going that way anyway. But look at that, 1 to 2, button, 3, great. Also makes a nice anti-theft device. No one's gonna figure that out. Look at that, boom. That's excellent, right on. So let's check this console back on. Oh, better get the old vacuum out and clean it up too. But oh man, I'm pretty stoked on that. Boom. Okay, this console's all back together. There's 1 now, 2, 3. That's pretty sweet, man. Right on. Boom, boom. Nice, and I could actually get this straight back on again because before I was having problems like articulating my finger and the button at the same time to do my burnout to go from 1 to 2, but now I can just do just like that maybe. Yeah, I might adjust that a bit further, but boom. Nice.
Okay, so now let's talk about the suspension setup on the car. Lots of comments about the rear shocks. Half the guys say they're too loose, half the guys say they're too tight. Everybody tells me they're an expert. If you watch those race day videos, I do actually play with that adjustment that I have back there on those Calvert shocks. I didn't get too much success out of playing with that. That was when we were trying to launch the car at 5,000 RPM. So as I continue to work on the whole package, I will continue to try different adjustments back there and keep working on that. But one really good tip I did get was about the front shocks. A lot of guys have asked if I had adjustment there. I don't. They are a 90-10 Calvert shock again. But a lot of guys say the front of the car did look like it sat a little bit high. And after I started doing some measuring around, I realized that the car was sitting higher than it used to. It was sitting about 1 inch higher than it was last season, and I guess that's because of all the weight that we have taken off the front end. Because we did switch to manual valve body, we dropped like 40 pounds there. I'm running no hood, that's another 25, 30. So there's probably like 70 pounds off the nose of the car now that we had on it last season. So I have adjusted the torsion bars using the adjuster bolt underneath, and I've dropped the car back down to where I had it last year. Now I have to be careful. I cannot completely slam this car. It is right near the bump stops, and I can cut those bump stops down. A lot of guys do that to lower the car further, but you guys have seen the videos. My driveway rolls down, and I gotta watch that pan. That oil pan is about 1 inch deeper than my old one, so I cannot completely slam the car. If I try rolling out, I'll grind that pan. I don't wanna do that. But I do have the car sitting about 1 inch lower. I'll show you guys that adjustment and where it's sitting on the bump stops, and then we'll talk about another front suspension thing that might happen in the near future.
Okay, rolling to the ugly side of the car now. There's those Calvert shocks there, 90-10 like I was saying, and there is my bump stop. So you can see it's sitting about a 16th. It looks like it's even dropped down a little bit. I did this yesterday. It looks like it's dropped down a little bit, but it's not quite touching there. Hopefully as I'm rolling down the road, it isn't bouncing off of that. I'd like to have like 3/8 of an inch clearance in there, but that's pretty much where it was before. So lowering it 3/8 of an inch closer here actually dropped the front end down 1 inch, which will give me more extension on my shocks, so they'll have more room to travel up, which will help our launch, is kind of the theory what guys are telling me. So that was an easy adjustment. There's just a single bolt right here, and that's how you adjust your torsion bars. It's very cool. That's the best thing about these Dodge front ends, is you can adjust the height just by twisting this bolt right here. So you just do that, get them even, get them happy, and hopefully this will help our 60-foot more. It gives about 1 inch more extension on the shocks, so it should throw that front end up higher, transfer more weight is the idea. Transferring that weight front to back to really stick that back end. So yeah, hopefully that helps us out.
Okay, so having the front of the car 1 inch lower should help transfer more weight, let the shocks throw the front end up higher, and push that weight to the back of the car. Now, in conjunction with this, I've been talking to Pete again. He asked about my torsion bars themselves. I have, there's 3 different sizes for these small blocks. There's the big block ones, which are bigger, small block, intermediate size, and then there's actually slant 6 ones that are really small. Not only are they lighter weight, but they will take less spring load and also help transfer weight to the back. So this car has the small block ones in it, as it was a stock small block car. But Pete was saying switching to those slant 6 torsion bars will help us throw weight to the back too. So that might happen in the future as well, so stay tuned for that. That's pretty much all of the modifications I'm doing before next race day. Everything else seems to be pretty good, and it's still just kind of working on that launch RPM, tire pressure, and we will play with those rear shocks again further. We're also going to monitor the calverts in the back to make sure they're doing the job, but it seems like the rear end is sticking. It's just getting the power back there is a bit of an issue right now. That's pretty much going to close out this video, but you know, it's a nice day. You guys want to see a rollout? Let's roll it out.
Actually seems like I have quite a bit of clearance still, so maybe that's not going to be such a big issue. Maybe I can get it a little lower still. Well, that's going to close out this video, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.